So as we go down in through the code, for each file in the path, we're grabbing the name, we're getting the extension so that we don't lose the extension. The new name is the get random string. We're then mentioning which string we're actually changing. We're then renaming it through the OS library, and then we're saying what the new name is based on this new name that we've created from the random string. So that's what this is, rename to that. And then we're incrementing the file so that we know how many files we've processed. And you can run it again and it'll just do it again. So now, if I sort files by name, you can see that they will be randomly allocated. So this second and the last is the same. So this is just a way of creating your photo album through random photos. So now, if I was to sort by type, so now we're going to insert photo album, edit photo album, check files disk. There we are, there's the 4PNG. Notice that it doesn't even show the heic files in there, even though we were just looking at them. We insert those, and away we go. So we can update the current file that we're in with the extra photos. And there they are. We now have a photo album with the PNG files converted. And you'll notice in the files, if I view the details, the heic files are a lot less in size than the PNG files. They're equivalent. So in terms of the rest of the code, that's pretty much it. So we're just exporting how many files we've processed, and then we're into the button code. So that's the entire program in a nutshell. So now I'll just mention a file size comparison of what PyCharm has found versus what File Manager has found. So in File Manager, if I was to put in E drive, for example, which is just a 4 gig USB disk that I've got plugged into the computer, you'll see here that it's got 119 meg and 114 used folder properties within the USB. You can see it's 112 versus 113. Even though it's the same data, this 119.4 versus 119.9, like it's very strange how it doesn't really match. So you can see here that the drive size for 2.5 meg higher, looking at the USB drive versus the folder, even though the only thing in that drive is that folder, but also the size 114 meg here versus 113 meg is one higher on the drive as well. Okay, now we're comparing the data from PyCharm and Python. You can see that the scripts folder is 1.42 meg versus the scripts in the E drive was 1.32. So there are slight differences in the actual data from a USB drive versus a hard drive. And the total was 101 versus, well, the photos total was the same, but the total was 116.96 versus 0.95. So there are slight differences when you're looking at a USB drive versus a hard drive. And the photos folder from the file manager mentions 99.1, but up here we had 101.2. So they're fairly similar, and you can actually just throw in C drive or D drive and get all the files that you have permissions to in order to compare all of your folders. And as I mentioned, I do have a error check in there so that it doesn't go too many files, but it can take quite a while to traverse your entire folder. So that's it. Thanks for joining me in this video, and let me know if you have any other questions or if you'd like any other videos around Python and PyCharm.